Hi Miriam Rivera, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thanks, Farah. How are you?
Well, thank you very much for this live interview talking about your master classes you are doing for Collabwith Academy. So, like we have these live master classes, but as well after you can access them in the academy, and then you can contact Miriam. So, who are you, Miriam? So you are a comic artist for scientific communication, so it's like very pretty specific.
Yes, it's very specific. My run is Biomix, Biology in Comics, and I help with that to explain scientific advances from different universities, hospitals, research centers, etc., in an attractive, visual, funny way, in order to everyone understands and remember your scientific research. I started because when I was a little girl, I love manga, but I studied sciences and I searched for some way to unify drawing with science, and I thought explaining science with these comics would be a good way. And thanks to that, now I have been doing that for 8 years, so it has perhaps it was a good idea, right?
Totally. And this masterclass we have this week is about how to create visual metaphors for science
Yes.
concepts, which I think was very funny because when we were doing this series of masterclasses, in the first masterclass we did some weeks ago, people were asking like, but I want to know more about visual metaphors. And like, yeah, it's the next masterclass. So
Yes, exactly, because the first masterclass that was in February was about the process of creating scientific comics. But during this process, there was one stage, which was the synopsis or the narrative for, to explain the key messages you want to transmit as scientists. And for me and a lot of people, using metaphors is very useful to create this narrative. And use these metaphors is like translate scientific or abstract concepts to concepts we use in our daily life. So it makes science easier to understand and easier to remember, because you can use your own vocabulary. I mean, it's better, for example, to talk and to discuss about scientific topics. And sometimes it's a little difficult to come up with these visual metaphors. And the idea is that in this next masterclass, this March 27 at 12 p.m., we will do a practical exercise step by step to come up with these metaphors. So you will have this method and you can recreate it wherever you want. And you just need a pen and a sheet of paper.
so easy. It was super nice to see you. Like really, you explained so well how to go from step by step to create a comic, and you make it so simple to do it. But still, I am thinking like, well, when we have to explain not science, but as well maybe technology, or new things, it's like, yeah, I like to make drawings and everything, but still it's like it's much better, to work with you directly and say like, okay, to be together discussing and thinking, like, but now with these master classes, I think it's much easier to work with you because then it's like I understand how it works, no, and what you need, and it's like learning a new language as well.
Yes, I think the good thing of these master classes is that in February you have seen all the process of doing a comic, and you can try to replicate it if you have other recurses
Mm-hmm.
or resources. Nevertheless, in this first masterclass, you have some resources to create the visual part. if you want to. And in this second masterclass, you will have a practical part in time to create this narrative. And in the third masterclass, we could see how all this, how to know the artist process, and know what is important about what you have to transmit to people. Because sometimes we want to talk about everything about our science, but depending on your public and your objective, you have to select some things. And when you have all this clear, it's easier to work with artists because you know your topic, what you want to do, what you want to talk about, what do you want to do with the materials, for example, in internet or in some congresses. And the artist has more information, not only to do what you are requiring, but to help you to improve some things. And you can work together in order to create something new with a new perspective you, as scientists, perhaps didn't have.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, I think it's helping not only to make it nice and easy to understand, but for for the person, no, from the researcher perspective, to see like go deep on, yeah, because she's all day working on the topic, so she has too many knowledge of how the thing is, no. But it's like no, but the people you have to go only talking about this part, like I think that's a very useful exercise as well, to change a little bit the perspective of the simplification of the communication, and I think as well from there they can create more ideas even, but side effect, no. But one of the things is like simplify the communication so you can reach more people, in this case, typical dissemination of, public society, but as well
Yeah.
the part of maybe businesses like or startup like they want, or other researchers like they want to work with you but they don't understand you, so it's much better to collaborate with someone like, I know what you are now doing, no.
Yeah, exactly. You as scientists can explain your science, but we have mentioned it before, what you have to say to accomplish your objective. For example, you want people to understand your product if you are a company or an industry. And sometimes we don't have to talk about, I don't know, the experiments of this product, but the benefits they have for people, for example. And perhaps you have not thought or so much about it. And working with scientists or communicators can give you some new perspective about how to present this product or this science or this innovation.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is to work together, to collaborate together in order to make your science or your product shine.
Mm-hmm. Miriam, what was the first work you have done? So the first comic with what was your first comic for science?
Okay, actually, in my first comic, there was a scientist that wanted I want your comic. Okay, and what do you want to talk about in this comic? I don't know, but I want to a comic. And the thing is that these comics are communication tools. So as we said before, is a very interesting and necessary exercise to know what you want to talk about or what you want to transmit people and why it's important to transmit that and not other parts of your experiments, your project, etc. And thanks to think about all these things, you will work better with an artist or a communicator in that way.
Mhm. So the next masterclass after this one, so the April masterclass, is about how to work with artists. So if you can give an advice now, what is the top but one thing, we have to be prepared to work with artists.
Okay, I think you have to be a little open-minded because sometimes people look for art, but they don't know what art could could achieve or how can it be. I mean, perhaps you are just thinking about an illustration about, I don't know, something like an infography or something like that, but there are a lot of different kinds of projects you can do with your science mm, to make people get emotion about your science, and people have curiosity for knowing more about your science. And sometimes this kind of art has not the shape or has not, I don't know, the way you are imagining, but artists can help you to open your mind in that way and look for more perspectives that, well, perhaps it was not your first idea, but it will help you more than this first idea.
Okay, so then I think that was for the masterclass on 24th of April. But this Friday is the 27th of March. We have the visual metaphors masterclass. But after this, and now it's already available on Collabwith to get the masterclass of the first class. So everything will be available there. So if you have any questions, Miriam is one of the members of Collabwith since the beginning, since 2018. So I think when you kick off with the comics, I kick off with the Collabwith platform, which is very nice. And I
Yes,
contacted you at the time.
and we met at Barcelona presently in a Starbucks.
I know. So I was believing already in you since the beginning, and you in me as well since the beginning for the platform. So I am super grateful for that. And now with this next level of the platform with the Academy as well, and I am so happy to, like, you can really share your knowledge, and you can, people, they can access, and as well you can do business with that and educate your customers. So super mega happy to make this happen and to see the evolution. And yeah, at the end of the day, so you are making your magic, you are helping scientifics to explain what they are doing in a very funny and useful way. So for everyone listening, Miriam Rivera, we have here the masterclasses with her and as well accessible in the Collabwith Academy.
Okay, thank you, Hara, for inviting me, and I'm super glad to see how Collabwith has grown since we met. And well, we wait for you at March 27 and April 24.
Yeah, and every time you want in the Academy with Miriam. See you!